and welcome to CIO News. I am Pushpa Soni, your host for the broadcast and chief editor at CIO News. This is our exclusive interview series on the topic of digital innovators in India, energizing a digital future. It is a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It gives me an immense pleasure in introducing our guest for today. He is Mr. Dhiren Savla, the Global Chief Information Officer from VFS Global Services Group. Dhiren has 35 plus years of experience working with multi-industry, multi-geography regions. And he's technology professional who strongly believes that a CIO can make difference to the business by bringing growth, innovation, efficiency, and integration. Dhiren is an industry thought leader and a speaker in many industry forums in India and abroad. He's been a recipient of several industry awards and recognition as well. Dhiren, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today on our episode.
Thanks, Khushbu. Pleasure is all mine.
Awesome. We also have Vikas Bhosle, the Chief Executive Officer from Crayon Software Experts India. Vikas is also a moderator for today's session. He's responsible for developing and implementing the company's vision and strategy to become one of the fastest growing cloud companies globally. Vikas is focused on building a diversified and vibrant workforce, next generation of leaders, and upgrading overall capability of the organization in an extremely dynamic market. Vikas, pleasure to have you again on CIO News.
Thank you. And I think, our sessions just get better. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, Dhiren. That rich experience of 35 years, I'm sure is going to benefit a lot of our listeners today. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation, Dhiren.
Thanks, Vikas. Same here.
All right. Yeah, it's not that VFS Global needs any, introduction, but I think it will be nice if we can start with what VFS is all about, what are the kind of services and solutions that you have, so that the listeners can stay clued in.
Okay, so VFS is a company which provides, it's an interface between the government and the citizens. So we provide visa processing support for the various government clients. It was started in 2001 as a part of a large travel multinational Keone, and business grew significantly over years, and we have moved up in the value chain with our expanded portfolio of services. As we talk today, we operate across 140 plus countries with 3,500 plus offices worldwide. So it's a kind of we don't call it a BPO because it's a front office operation wherein we interact with applicants applying for visas or passports or any other diplomatic services. And we help governments in processing it with ease.
Yeah, that's a massive footprint, right? More than 3,000 centers and more than 140 countries. When we look at the last 2 years and you put the whole COVID thing into perspective, and my experience with VFS is you need to go on site and do the very seamless process that you have kind of been able to put in place. How has business been? Because the travel industry in specific was very badly impacted. So how did you manage the business, and how did you manage to keep doing the work that you're doing despite being remote?
So if you ask me, travel industry was definitely worse impacted industry, and international travel was even more. So when COVID hit us, COVID started, we were not really prepared for that. But at the very same time, this threat was converted into an opportunity. This was the right time to really step back and do all the right things which are pending for some time. So naturally, we could not open our centers because even embassies were closed for some time. There was a lockdown effect globally. But during that time, we really came together and identified various possible initiatives which could really bring efficiency, also enable us in doing a business little differently, make processes more and more efficient and more digital. This was really well received by everyone, including our clients. And in those 6 months' time, we could really do some very interesting stuff, which really brought us to do more with less kind of approach. Technically, during those times, our centers were closed, but our back office or our support functions were working around the clock. And we successfully adapted working from home. And actually, we ended up working a little more than what we were doing before because our focus was really to really be successful, really be more sharper, more agile, and prepared for the long haul. And possibly we are seeing the results now. Things have started opening in the last year or so. Our centers are operational now, though we have various variants of COVID impacting on and off, but business is coming to normal. But everything what we did in the last 12, 18 months time is showing results now with improved processes, improved technology solution, and digitization.
It's terrific, isn't it? How we as humankind kind of adopt to things, right? We went remote, we've started to work more.
Yeah.
And you made a specific point about digitizing processes, right? And we all know how seamless and how easy it is going to a VFS center and getting it done. And if you've kind of gone and enhanced that, that's absolutely creditable. So my question then hence to you is, your view on digital technology and digital transformation, and what are the kind of technologies you think can help you achieve that vision on digital technology and digital transformation?
So if you ask me, many people many industry players consider digital as a threat, but in my mind, digital is an opportunity. So digital transformation for businesses started long time ago, but we have seen some more anticipated changes getting accelerated during the pandemic time, because we are not really prepared for something like that. And this really became a catalyst for many, many companies. Our greatest takeaway from this crisis is that the companies, big or small, have learned to be brave and visionary. The need to be future ready is no more an option. We have to do that. It's imperative to survive and stay relevant in the times ahead. We do not really know that how long pandemic will last, how long will it take to get the normalcy back. With the digital transformation happening in every sector, the digital vision at VFS Global aims to always be one step ahead. With constant upgradation in line with ongoing dynamic changes in the marketplace, we keep developing new product, keep enhancing what we have to offer to our consumers and customers. In line with these efforts, we expanded our key management competencies, dedicated resources assigned for all this e-commerce and digital offerings, and also strengthen our products, security posture, data protection compliance in this time. So today we continue to invest in a technology which can make us not just future ready, also future proof. And we use cloud way ahead in time, about 10 years back, 8-9 years back, cloud was very new thing, and everybody was really interpreting cloud very differently. That time we started adaptation of cloud, but it was more of a private cloud in the beginning, because there was a fear factor, there was a fear of unknown with various stakeholders. And in the last 2 years or so, we started using the public cloud and the technology attached with that.
That's wonderful. So if you were to encapsulate everything and make it a little easy for everyone to understand, and give us the top success criteria to build digital transform organizations, what would you say, Dhiren?
So I would say, this really changes the way we are looking at things in the past. There's a marked difference in the stakeholders' sentiments and expectation post-COVID situation. This is just not internal stakeholders, it's also external stakeholders also.
That's true.
A forward-thinking CIO should be able to assess this shift and respond to that. So for VFS Global, our primary stakeholders are our client governments and the visa customers. Today, people are willing but wary of traveling. Anybody wants to travel, but they're a little cautious, little skeptical about really going for the unnecessary or discretionary travel. Likewise, governments are also willing to open borders and allow cross-border mobility, but there are significant restrictions which are existing and which are changing every day. Given these challenges, the first step towards restoration is to build the confidence And digital technology is a great way to do that. And by providing or building tools which can address all these concerns, we can really make travel or the application of visa more easy and more comforting to all the stakeholders. So typically, next gen CIOs must be visionary and capable of comprehending the market pulse and keeping up with the global business requirements and environment. Is equally essential for them to inspire teams to inherit the larger organizational vision and the goal, apart from inculcating enhanced synergy and the coherence. So typically, I would say success criteria remains that whatever we are trying to do with the digital transformation should really meet the business goal. At the very same time, we are able to do something faster, better, cheaper than before. Also, it is allowing us to overcome the hurdles which are created because of the current situation with the help of right technology tools.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about, being visionary and really forward looking in the way you see things, right? But in many ways, it's also about how we respond to it on a day-to-day basis, right? You spoke about, we are all ready to travel, but we were willing to travel. There is wariness. There is this Omicron virus situation still on the horizon now. So the challenges have still not gone away. Yeah, they are still unprecedented, especially for an industry like yours. So on an ongoing basis, how are you responding to such a situation, Dhiren? Because it's almost like a dynamic thing for you, right?
Which is very true. Typically, how we can do that. If you really divide the VFS operation, it can be divided into two parts. One is my front office operation, wherein people come for application of visas, which is kind of can be digitized to some extent, but not fully. And then second part is about my enabling units, which are the back office functions, which are extremely complex, working around the clock, all the time, meeting the requirements of various governments, and also supporting across time zones. So typically, the back office or the enabling unit have started using work from home very effectively. So we have seen the results, which are really fascinating. So even today, large part of my workforce works from home, and they come on and off to office. That works very well. But the bigger challenge lies in my front office operation, wherein we can do this much only. So there we have really looked at using digital technology as much as we can. And we have really looked at various products which are getting introduced by us, and we are promoting it along with our client governments, wherein we can support applicant in application process remotely. We have also introduced some products wherein we can actually do the digital document check. So when somebody is applying, the biggest fear in the mind is to really whether I'm submitting right set of documents or not, risk of rejection and the fear of rejection. So we are offering this as an additional service, which has really got a good acceptance from the applicants as well as client governments. And the third, and I would say the most important thing which has really worked worked very well for us is the introduction of visa at the doorstep. So instead of you coming to my application center, I'm giving you an option of coming to your doorstep at price. It is not it was supposed to be a premium product, but it's more of a convenience product right now, because anybody who is really working in the tier 2 city or is really staying far in a city like Mumbai, anybody who needs to travel for 2 hours to come to the visa application center and then take another 2 hours to go back will be actually ending up spending the entire day for application of visa, wherein by paying a small sum of money, people can really request our officers to come to your residence or office in a secure environment, wherein they can take the enrollment of your biometrics as well as documents. And that can be very, very effective, as well as it handles the concerns of applicants, which is, the really social distancing, travel and everything else is taken care of. So it's a mixed bag, adaptation of work from home, as well as introduction of the new products, new services, which not only increases our revenue, at the very same time, it also brings efficiency and also gives value-added service to the applicants.
Yeah, yeah. That's so I just want to stay on this subject for a little bit while longer, you know. All this while we've heard about businesses need to be resilient, you know, to come out of this entire thing unscathed, right? And that's what everyone has been talking about. You spoke about work from home, you spoke about different products, you know, you spoke about visa at home. There's always been several good solutions you have, like the luxury lounge earlier. Now you've kind of started renovating, and you have all of these at the front, but at the back, and we talk about resiliency. What are the kind of technologies that have really gone into build resiliency into the business? Can you speak a little bit about that?
So, remote working, if you really remember good old days, it was very easy to meet, and you need to really have collaborative meetings. It was always expected that you will be visiting your clients, or it was expected that you'll be having your review meetings in a one common room. It was normal, and we are very, very much used to that. But in the last 2 years' time, this adaptation of remote working or using the tools to work effectively is really fast-tracked. In terms of remote IT administration or the group working and collaboration, it becomes a very key differentiator in the movement restricted area. In case we don't do it well, this can really cause some real serious problem. In this parlance, VFS Global has prototype solutions based on the groupware platforms like Microsoft Teams in a very innovative use case scenario. For location independent IT governance, VFS Global has also harnessed a cloud-based modern workplace platform, which can give a lot of comfort to the various stakeholders, because we are, your supervisor or the manager is not there when you're working. But in case you use all the controls using the technology tools, it gives a lot of comfort that whatever individual is using on his desktop or laptop is not really going to get compromised. At the very same time, you feel very comfortable that your data which is getting transferred between locations is also secured as desired. As security assumes even greater importance in the remote workplace environment, we have deployed a hybrid solution for endpoint protection and governance, which is really giving us kind of a comfort what we used to have when people are coming to office. So it's a combination of putting the technology tools and the processes which will ensure that we are resilient enough for a situation like COVID-19. We never know, COVID-19 may not be the last one. It may come again in a different form, and we need to be really prepared for the unknown.
Is there a bit of innovation that you see happening in VFS now when you really look at continuity? You said it right? You have COVID now, it would be some other form. But are you adopting innovation to just say, I want to have continuity of services there? We spoke about resilience. What about continuity of services?
So, typically it's no longer the disaster recovery. We don't, in good old IT parlance, we'll always look at building some good DR solution. But now it's much beyond that. We need to really have a business continuity plan, which is much more than the traditional DR.
Yeah.
So what we have done is VFS Global has harnessed a multi-AZ configuration, wherein technologies like Cloud Endure, Carbonite, and the likes to ensure the IT DR and the continuity. This is more to do with the data center, which are spread across multiple geography for VFS. But at the very same time, even for the our operation, the front office operation, we are working on the alternate mechanism of providing continuity services, which could be the alternate site working, or one example what I gave some time back is about the visa at a doorstep. So this is also what you call guaranteed by doing regular drills and the rehearsals, so that we can be prepared for any unexpected situation. We do various tabletop exercise. We also do maybe the invocation of the DR location. This becomes a regular feature. Never ever we thought that all our sites will come down together, that, because of COVID, we'll have to close down everything. Fortunately, that time actually travel also stopped. So it was possible to sustain during that time. But there could be a situation tomorrow when travel is continuing in some part of the world, but we are not in position to open the centers in some geo because of the severe pandemic situation. So for those kind of situation, we are working on alternatives, which could be the mix of a remote working, allowing to operate from the alternate sites, or working in a very secure environment from maybe a business center.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I mean, great insights, Dhiren. Yet another very important question which I had in my mind was, we all speak about hybrid, we all speak about going digital. There is a place in this world for our traditional way of working, and there is a place for what's going to be digital, right? And as per you, going by what you've been seeing in your organization and around you, being a senior technology leader in the industry, what's your take on the percentage of work that will remain digital post-COVID?
We are talking in general, or we are talking about VFS per se?
Whichever way you would want to answer.
So I would look at it a little different. Digital adaptation is here to stay, and this will grow. So in case it was 95-5, it'll become 90-10, 85-15. But at the very same time, we cannot do away with the physical world for sure. So I would say it depends on the industry. Some industry will really embrace digital much more and much more faster. Some industry will really be little slow in adapting it. But it's, I'll not say evil, but it's not it's a reality which we cannot really ignore. So my forecast, in case we really want to look at the digital as a part of the overall service delivery, I would say it'll be ranging between 30 to 40% in the next few years' time.
Yeah, we will get to know. I think our industry is great at forecasting, that. But yes, increasingly we see a lot of things going digital. In fact, even for us as a selling organization, we are saying, do you want to look at traditional sellers, or we need to now look at digital selling? Because it's a completely different paradigm.
So because look at the industries, banking, banking was one of the early adapters. They've really successfully done that. How many times we really go to the branch? Okay,
Yes.
Hardly. I don't know. I don't remember last time when I went, except for the demonetization time when we had to go for exchange of currency. Okay, otherwise we have not been to the branch. So it's true for the delivery. The successful models like Amazon and Flipkart, they've done wonders, because more than the grocery, good example, you don't really need to step out, and they really came like a God's blessing, God's sending during the pandemic time.
Yes.
Without that, how you would have survived? There was no way. There was no other way.
Entertainment, when we were watching all of those things that we did in the house right to the last 2 years, right?
We all survived because of that. So yeah.
We did. Yeah, we did. And at the root and foundation of this, and when we talk digital technology, is cloud, right? Maybe it cannot happen without migrating to the cloud. We are moving workloads and reimagining how you're going to really use your infrastructure and application and all of that stuff. So what are the factors according to you? So first question is, from your VFS perspective, how did you look at cloud, and what according to you are the factors one should consider by moving to the cloud?
So if you ask me, typically, I always tell everyone that, cloud as a word was a bit abused in the beginning, because I remember maybe 10 years back when we were talking to 2 different people or 10 different people, you will hear 10 different definitions of cloud. Okay, so there was a fear of unknown, fear of security, fear of losing control, which really slowed down the adaptation of cloud. But with the awareness setting in very well with the various industries in the last, I would say 5 years, 7 years, I do not really foresee many companies buying servers anymore. Many companies really setting up their own data centers anymore. Okay, so it all started in a little hazy manner, but with the awareness, with somebody else doing it, so I can also do it. Some of the very regulated industries started adopting cloud very well. So it gave comfort to the other players also to really look at it. When we look at VFS, as I mentioned some time back, we have, cloud brings a couple of things to us. One, say I would talk about originally we were worried about the security naturally, and also the compliance, data residency, approvals from client. But a large part of these points are addressed right now. But what cloud brings to us is about the plethora of technology, which are bundled with the cloud is offering, which was not really easily implementable when in a traditional setup. Second thing it brings is certainly elasticity, because many businesses are seasonal. Okay, because 3 months of the year you really cover 70% of your business. Okay, we don't end up building infrastructure which is for that capacity for remaining 9 months. So cloud gives us that flexibility. Also, the fear of security, that is really overcome by multiple technology or the solutions that are deployed by all the large service providers like AWS or Azure or whoever. All of them are really providing a really top-end security solutions, which are also customizable. Okay, and something like DevSecOps, in case you want to implement, it's very, very easy to what you call achieve with the help of cloud platform, which is really, it becomes a bit cumbersome. You need to really set up things, and also more than that, you need to change the mindset and the culture of the team, which gets very, very easy when you really look at the ready to use cloud platform. And somewhere unknowingly, we address the concern. I'm not talking about VFS, but the industry address the concern of not losing control. Okay, because typically traditional CIOs or traditional IT managers always had a fear of not having control on the cloud. But with adequate control given on the management of cloud, all the multiple cloud with the orchestration layer, people end up having a comfort which they had before, which is also combined with the additional tools and additional functionalities which cloud offers.
Yeah. There are a lot of cloud management CMP tools, cloud
Right.
management platforms out there. I mean, it's getting complex, but there are solutions out there for sure. My final question for you, Dhiren, you've done a quite a challenging operation, right? Several centers, multiple countries, coming up with new solutions, and straight away ran into this whole pandemic, right? And the last 2 years must have been a great experience for you. My question to you is, based on what you've learned over the last 2 years, through your experience of handling such a massive operation, what would be your piece of advice for technology leaders and listeners around managing this kind of a unprecedented situation and coming out practically on tops?
So, because this is very important thing, because how much ever anybody would have planned, they were not prepared for pandemic-like situation.
That's so true.
None of
That's
us had seen this before.
Yeah.
One great learning from this situation is to really be prepared for unknown, prepared for something which is really extreme. How do we achieve this? Multifold. One being just set up your IT landscape, which is right from the infrastructure, application portfolio, your contracts with the vendors, to be as flexible as possible. Okay, make it elastic, make it more consumable than static, because businesses may go through the rough patch for some time and they may bounce back also. When they bounce back, they may bounce back very, very fast. That time also you require that elasticity, which is not possible, possible in a very traditional way. Second thing, overcome the fear of changes, overcome the fear of digital adaptation, because this is not going to reduce your importance or reduce the traditional physical processes. It's just going to improve what you are going to do. And third thing, very importantly, align with the business. Whatever you want to do right now, don't do it for the technology reasons, try and do it for the business reasons. If you do it and have a solid business case which can be delivered by using technology tools, then in the rough times you'll become a good, reliable partner of business, and that's what any business wants.
Yeah, there is a seat at the table there now, Dhiren, and I think we have a great opportunity to be part of the business outcome Thank you so much. That was such a great conversation, Dhiren. Great insights, and I'm sure everyone is going to love this. Thanks a lot for talking to us, and do take care of yourself. And God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vikas. Thanks, Khushbu.
Thank you so much today.